My name's Brad Davis, and I'm a wine educator at Gary Farrell and Santa Rosa Junior College.
What about wine do you enjoy most?
What wine do I enjoy most?
What about
Oh,
wine?
what about wine? That's a hard question. Um, there's so much that surrounds wine, I think. There's the history to it, which is fascinating. Then there's how it pairs with food. For me, wine, I have wine every day. So for me, it's part of dinner. It's what I have when I get home. It's it's just kind of enveloped with everything. And for me, I plan meals around what wine I'm going to serve with it instead of here's a meal and I'll go pick a wine to fit that meal. I'll actually do it the other way around. So for me, what I enjoy most about wine is probably the whole kind of cultural aspect with it. It's fun to drink wines that not many people can get. It's fun to drink wines that are super cheap. Everybody has access to, but it's just really good still. There's a lot to it.
Can you briefly describe how wine is made again? Just
It's fermentation. So most alcohol gets, at least in the very beginning, is fermentation. So you get this juice from whatever fruit. You can make it out of any fruit, but we use grapes, obviously. So you have juice that gets put in here, and you put sugar, or it has sugar in it on naturally. Then it has yeast, and yeast eats sugar, and that's basically the basis of fermentation. Same thing when you make bread. You have the yeast keeps the bread, and the bread rises. The yeast eats sugar. That's the main component of fermentation. After that, there's byproducts of yeast eating sugar. One of them is CO2. The other one is heat, and then the other one is alcohol. And the alcohol is the one that everybody looks for in the fermentation process.
so then with pairings, how do you think pairing wine with food enhances the wine?
The French have been doing this for hundreds of years, but the acids in wine play off the fats in food. There's certain characteristics of, like, let's say for Pinot Noir, has this earthiness to it, this dried fruit character, and that brings out, let's say, a sauce for pork or for quail or something like that. So, as I always tell my students, if you have a really good food and wine experience, the wine elevates the food, and the food elevates the wine, and they both made each other better. It's like a symbiotic relationship.
Okay. What is the difference between wine between Gary Farrell and like that from a box?
Boy, where do I start? So it starts with quality, for sure. Um, if you start, we're talking about how the the vines themselves. If you have too much fruit on the vine, it doesn't flavor the grapes very well. It kind of has to spread it across the board. Whereas if you cut grapes and you have only, like, say, 2 clusters instead of 5, then those clusters get really good flavor, a lot of interesting characteristics to it. Well, the box wines are all the vines that they'd let have as much fruit as they possibly can. It's really hot, so it grows really quick. And then when it comes time for picking, I'd probably guarantee you that they use a machine that comes through and picks the grapes. Whereas when we're doing it, it's all hand sorted, hand picked by a crew the whole time. There's not a machine involved at all, except for a tractor being driven. So, all these cost cutting, maneuvers really don't make the wine taste very good. It makes it cheap, but from the winemaking processes, they can add additives to it that can make it more purple, more fruity. It's not very natural thing.
So then, would you say that the price of a bottle of wine is an indication of how good it is?
I would say 70% of the time it's the indication, maybe 80% of the time, of the quality. Good is really subjective, because I can throw a $200 bottle at somebody and say, hey, this is really good, and they can taste it and not think it's very good at all. Whereas I can put a $10 bottle and say it's still good, given it came from another country, it's cheaper to make there. So the good is hard. Quality is where you can go with. This is a good quality wine. The good part, it's like when I tell my class, oh, this is a good wine. Well, why? Why do you like it? No, it's good. No. What about it do you like? Not just is it good. So.
What advice would you give those not familiar with wine but would want to get into it?
Don't let the pretentiousness and the whole snootiness that can sometimes surround wine be a turnoff. It's not. There is that part if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be that way. Uh, Try it. You can go wine tasting. Wine tasting is free for many places, or if there's a cost, it's very low. And just, kind of try different things. Most people start with sweet wines and then round off to white and then go to red and then back up around to a lighter red. But start and just, do what you want to do. And I would also say, if you like something, like it. Don't let anybody say, "Oh, that's really bad. It's white Zinfandel. I hate that." So what? If you like it, and more power to you.